My 32 husband, 30, is prone to accidents. He gets injured easily due to not being careful with what he does. He used to drive, but he totaled his car same time this past year. His recent injury was a severely damaged wrist. He called me to take him to the hospital because he was feeling so much pain, and yeah, he's the type that can't deal with slightest amount of discomfort, and that stems from childhood traumas. I took him in my car to the hospital and he had his wrist looked at and treated by the doctor. When we were in the car on our way home, he kept huffing and puffing, complaining about the pain, though he was already given medication. He started commenting on my driving, telling me to go left or right, then point out how terrible my turns were, etc. I was getting annoyed but decided to ignore him and turned the radio on. He then told me he hated the singer and I needed to change the station or turn the radio off, but I refused since this is my favorite song, and asked him to respect me as the driver, but he insisted and turned the radio off, but I turned it back on and told him to knock it off and respect the driver. He reached out to the glove compartment and pulled out my registrations and rolled down the window and threw them out. I was freaking out, asking what the hell he was doing, and he kept saying I caused him to do this and that I could get them replaced later. I immediately pulled over and yelled at him to get out of my car. He was looking at me asking if I was serious and pointed out how far we were from home, and he had no money for a cab, but I said it wasn't my problem and argued with him for a few minutes as he went on about how sick and unwell he was and couldn't walk this distance home. He eventually got out of the car and I turned around to go look for my registrations and luckily found them, so no damages were done there, but I was still shaken up from the whole thing. He got home at 11 p.m. and started arguing about how I made him walk home knowing he was sick. He threw up a couple of times on the way and explained that I could have turned off that stupid song since he was feeling intense pain and I clearly had no regard for his feelings. I said what he did was not right even if he was in pain and wasn't being rational. He insisted that I viciously got him out the car in his lowest moments and said he's now afraid of being sick around me since this is how I treat him when he's incapable of fending for himself. He basically stopped talking to me after that and told his family what I did, and they've all been side-eyeing me, saying I have anger issues and no empathy. Oh my god. He needs to grow the hell up. He decided to punish you for not obeying him by throwing your registrations out the window. Then decided that this was your fault instead of taking accountability. Not the idiot. Start divorce proceedings. He's not going to change and there won't be a therapist who can help him. He sounds like a child. Throwing a temper tantrum over a song on the radio. How the hell is throwing legally required paper out of the window an adult reaction to literally anything? What's next? Maybe he doesn't like how you turned last time, so this time he grabs the wheel out of your hand, which can easily lead to an accident. Just because he's in pain doesn't mean he can be reckless and can't listen to a 3-minute song on the radio. Like, not the idiot. Both of you seem to have some toxicity here and probably shouldn't be together without extensive therapy and behavior changes, but I'm hesitant to say everyone's the idiot here because I think you're being abused, especially because he said you made me do this. That's like textbook abuse. Not to mention he's trying to say you're abusing him, which is absolutely not the case in the example as you've laid out here. Please take care of yourself and really look at your life to make sure you're safe. My wife and I have joined finances, but she has a savings account her grandpa set up for her before he passed. It's around 40k in savings. We both work IT jobs and get paid fairly well. I want to note that we do not live in America, so wages differ. She stated to me that that money are for either an emergency or in case we plan on buying our own house. She said that in case I need money for an emergency I'm allowed to use. I also have access to the account, but so far I didn't use anything. 2 months ago my sister asked me to lend her 5k because she wanted to pay for her wedding dress, but her card had expired and kept declining. I lent her 5k, but since I didn't have the full amount of my own paycheck, I borrowed money from my wife's savings. My sister said she'd pay me back once her new card was ready, which would take less than 2 days. I didn't tell my wife this because I'd replaced the money in 2 days. It's been 2 months now, and my sister is putting off on giving back the money she borrowed. She keeps finding excuses on why she couldn't give it back every time. My wife hasn't checked the savings account in ages, but what if she happens to check it and she figures out 5K is missing? My best friend says I am honest with her and I should accept the consequences of my own actions for not notifying my wife and not letting her know about the money missing. Am I the idiot? I feel very guilty for this and for trusting my sister. Your sister not being able to afford her wedding dress is not an emergency. You were fooled. Her bank would have sent her new debit card the beginning of the month it expires, not wait to send one after it expired. You're not getting that money back. And you will probably never get your wife's trust back either. You're the idiot. Not only is paying for a wedding dress not an emergency, you didn't even give your wife the chance to decide if that money should be used in this way. This was not a situation where you didn't have the time to talk to her first before lending the money. Also, never lend money you expect back, especially from family, add that you've continued to hide it for months. I'd remove your access to that account immediately. You've shown that you can't be trusted. That wasn't an emergency. Your sister is clearly not paying you back. You could have literally asked if your wife was okay with such a large sum and gone from there. It's not borrowing if you didn't ask. You knew it was wrong because you hide it and are only panicking now because you know you can't get the money back. Apologize to your wife. Don't be surprised if she removes your access because you clearly cannot be trusted. I recently purchased a wedding gown off a second-hand wedding dress site. Full disclosure, I am not engaged, but my partner and I have discussed that we will be getting married within 2 years. I suspect he will ask next year. I had spent a lot of time on the second-hand wedding dress site helping my sister find a gown as she is getting married, and while on it, I fell in love with a custom designer gown. I am very thrifty and am trying to save as much money as possible when it comes to weddings etc, so having something custom like that made for me is out of the question. But this dress was well within an affordable range for me. It was the find of the century and was my exact size. I ummed for a while as I'm not even engaged yet, but ended up buying the gown as I really loved it and I knew that I wouldn't be able to find anything like that within my price range. I received a message tonight from the woman who sold me the gown. It read, "Hi, I'm so sorry, I forgot to take the dress off the site and received this message, hopefully you can help her out." And then she had attached screenshots of a girl who had messaged her to basically say, "I am in love with this gown and I want to buy or hire it from the person who bought it off you. I am struggling at the moment as my father just passed away and this is really important to me and I really need this with details about when she's getting married and that she'll take care and dry clean it etc. The seller has given me the girl's number so I can reach out. Thing is, I am likely not getting married until late 2023 and she needs it before then. I don't want to hire out my dress before I get to wear it because if anything happens to it, I wouldn't be able to afford anything like it again as it's custom, it's my Chanel suit for any Simpsons fans. I feel like if I reach out it will just be to disappoint her and I hate that I'll be doing that while she's going through such a devastating time. And there's also the guilt there as I'm not even engaged yet and bought the gown. My sister says to put myself in her shoes and she just wants to hire it and I'll still get to wear it etc. And I'm starting to feel like the idiot. Thoughts? Not the idiot. But the seller is the idiot. I sell vintage jewelry online and someone reached out to me about a ring I already sold. It looked like a sentimental piece from their past and they wanted me to share their contact info with the person I sold the ring to so they can ask if the person is open to selling it back to them. I declined. I will not put that kind of burden on my buyer or bother them after they purchased, paid for, and loved their item. The seller can ask, although they really should not have done, but you are well within your rights to say no as you bought the dress outright. It might seem heartless in the circumstances, and we only have her word for the sob story, but the other woman will just have to find another dress. They say they will care for it, but what if it gets ruined? And the whole ask feels odd, like it might be some kind of fool. You may well end up regretting it if you do rent it out. Every single thing I have ever loaned out came back damaged. I refuse to loan things now. You may not even get the dress back. It's not a dress, and so she likely won't care if it gets damaged. It's probably all a fool anyways. Don't let your guilt manipulate you into doing what you don't want to do. This is not your problem to solve. Lose both their numbers, forget this ever happened, and have a blast at your wedding. My 37 family went to a Winter Wonderland event tonight. It consisted of myself, husband 35, and 2 small children. A few weeks prior, my husband and I talked about it and both said we wanted to go. It's at a local amusement park and consists of seasonal activities, ice skating, Santa, parade, shows, lights, etc. My husband complains a lot. It's normal. I try to block it out, but sometimes I get annoyed. He starts before we even go to events and wants to know how long things will last and gets upset if we go over the time. We had never been to this event, so I had no idea how long this will last. While there, he complains about crowds, lines, how long we are there, his feet, his back, and probably more things that I shut out. He complains directly to me, not the kids. When we get home around 9:30 p.m., he snaps at me when I ask him what the plans are for taking the kids to bed. After putting our second child to bed, he tells me he just wants some kudos and appreciation for going to this event. This confuses me. I didn't ask him to go to this. It was a decision we made together. I got defensive and said I don't understand why I need to thank him for going to something he wanted to go to. He said he clearly did not want to go, never wanted to, and I should have known that. Obviously I didn't. I said if he doesn't want to go to these things then don't. I'll take the kids on my own. No big deal. Here's where I might be the idiot. I told him I don't really want him to go to these things when the kids start to get a little older and can totally pick up on the vibe that he doesn't want to be there. The constant complaining, even though it's to me and not the kids, might show them dad doesn't really want to be there. My husband lost his crap on me. Told me I was using the kids to guilt trip him. We got into a huge fight where he also reveals that he's never wanted to any of these kinds of activities, even before we had kids. Maybe I'm just really naive, but I had no idea. Why do those things if he didn't want to, especially before kids? He said he doesn't really want to be doing these family activities, but he does them for the kids now. Honestly, looking back, I guess I should have seen it with the amount of complaining. I don't know. Anyway, he's not speaking to me and left the conversation telling me I really need to reflect on myself. Which I am honestly trying to do, but I just feel confused. I genuinely want to do these activities with the kids. Would I be building a gingerbread house or seeing Santa or carving a pumpkin if I didn't have kids? Probably not. But that doesn't mean I don't genuinely want to do them with my family now. And, without any hard feelings, I would do these things with my kids alone if my husband didn't want to go. That's fine. But he has agreed to going in the past and will act hurt if I don't include him even on little activities. Not the idiot. You know you can't win this. He'll either be upset he has to go or upset that you didn't ask him. So, if he's going to be upset anyway, leave his whiny butt at home while you and the kids go out to have a good time. By the way, your kids already know, even if they cannot articulate their understanding yet. My daughter was nearly 5 when she told me not to invite my parents to her birthday party because we'd all be happier if they didn't have to come up with a reason not to attend at the last minute. Not the idiot, your husband is though. When you have kids you make sacrifices and suffer through things you may not want to do without complaining because your kids are enjoying themselves. My husband is similar to your husband, he doesn't flat out complain, but you can tell he's miserable which in turn makes everyone else miserable and he won't stay home. Our kids are a little older now, 23, 13, and 11, and they all ask if he's staying home because they think it's more fun to go without him. When he does insist on coming they just do their best to ignore him, they purposely try to plan things for when he'll be at work. Not the idiot. You need to reflect on your behavior. What the behavior of putting up with a joy taker making sure you haven't enjoyed a single family outing in the last however many years. Yeah, you should reflect on that and reflect on why you let him keep doing it and then why you let him reverse it on you. It's simple, if he complains to you again and ruins one more family outing, he doesn't come again. And seriously, is this what you want for the rest of your life? The guy's a bellend. Some context. I, 17, was adopted at 6 months old by my bio dad's, BD, cousin, my dad, Dad A. My dad's A side of family was always very orthodox. When he came out, they practically shunned him, but still kept inviting him to the family events, so their image to the neighbors would stay intact. When my dad A got married their behavior towards my dads got harsher. Only my bio dad bio mom were kinder. After I was born, my bio parent gave me to my dad as they had demanding jobs and couldn't take care of twins. My twin is the golden child of the family. They love her to pieces. Me not so much. My twin is pretty, she has lighter skin, blue eyes. I'm darker. So my dad's family used to bully me when I was little as I didn't fit in with their aesthetics. So when I was about 9, my dad's moved away across the country and cut all contacts except for my bio dad. Now my other dad, K, received a huge inheritance from his grandparents and he wants to give it all to me. I'm thinking to go into medicine, so this money will really help. So here's the issue. My bio dad is not that well off and can't pay for my twin. So my twin called me a few days ago asking for half the inheritance. Mind you, she called me first time in years after we left. I obviously said no. So she had her grandparents call me and berate me. They told me my dads and K have money, they are lawyers, so they can afford my college fund even without the inheritance money. When I said no, the whole family including my bio dad called my dads, A, K, and called them selfish freaks. That they are ungrateful sinners. My dads are very upset. They gave me everything they could. If I give away half of the money, his family would leave them alone. I can't help but feeling guilty. Should I just give them the money? I accept that I'm jealous of my twin that she was accepted by them but not me. My dads can afford my college, but I just don't want to give my twin the inheritance. So, am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. This is your dad's, K, money and he can do with it as he wishes, including giving it all to you. Your feelings about your biological sister are irrelevant in this decision. You have a bright future to plan for and are being given an amazing opportunity to pursue it with little to no distraction. Your biological family shouldn't keep you from it. They called your parents sinners, but they want the sinners' money. Wow. What kind of logic is that? OP, if you give the money you are disrespecting your dads who gave nothing but love and support to you. Do not share a dime with these people or give money to your twin. They bullied you and realize that they are still bullying you. What did your bio parents do? They should not be condoning any of this. Your twin sounds like a spoiled brat. The money was given to you, not to your sister. She hasn't spoken to you in years, but now there's a sniff of money and she's suddenly there, hand out. Nope. Just think about this, if this situation was the other way around and your sister suddenly had an inheritance, I bet she wouldn't give you the time of day if you asked her for money. If they don't stop, block the lot of them. They don't deserve a penny.